This is a meeting of the Personnel Committee. It's Wednesday, April 23rd. This is an open session public meeting and it's subject to being recorded. Your image and your voice will be recorded per the open meeting law, Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20E. Okay. So on the agenda we had, I was going to do the minutes real quick and then move into the other stuff. I sent you the minutes. Was there?
It's only one thing.
Okay.
I think you might watch too much The Simpsons.
Why?
Because it's Mike McQuillan, not Wiggins or something.
McQuiggan.
McQuiggan.
Oh, because I used to know a Steve McQuiggan.
Well,
that's
I thought-
why. So it's McQuillan. Thank you very much.
No, our family was
I'm
laughing.
sorry.
Oh, she watches The Simpsons.
Oh no, is that on there? I've never watched it.
My son can, at 41 years old, he can quote every line.
I've never watched it. I've come in the room and it's been on, and I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's
no, and he's sound asleep on the
He's
couch.
watching it.
So anyway, thank you very much. So Chief McQuillan. So those were the minutes. We haven't met since October 30th.
Has it been that long?
That's when we last met.
forever
Oh my
ago.
goodness.
So I will make that revision to those guests that were there, Chief McQuillan instead of Chief McQuiggan.
So, other than that, I will make a motion to accept the minutes
Okay,
with that one thing.
I'll second it. All
Unless we
those
want
in
to change his
favor?
name.
Aye. Okay.
He might laugh.
You probably.
Oh, 423.
Thea might like it, a new last name.
25.
Change it all up.
All right,
A little something different.
minutes approved. Right. The second item of business was, we can go to the second item. I had put revisions to conservation agent, we can do that afterwards. So the next piece was Kristen's email to us to a request to increase the Council on Aging director hours from 24 to 30 hours per week. So,
You could get one to Claire.
I got mine.
Okay. I never know, and I figure the one time I don't bring it,
Right.
you won't
Did you
have
copy one?
yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Actually, got my printer to print, so they're pretty good.
All right. Melissa is here. If
Okay.
she could come up, if that's okay.
Sure.
If you would.
Melissa, I'm Claire.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And you two don't know each other at all, right?
Hi.
I'm the crabby one.
How are you?
Get ready.
That's false from my experience so far.
Well, there you go.
June laughs.
So, Melissa Sargent is our new Council on Aging Director, new, and then now it's been 4 months.
6
It's been
months.
6? Oh my
6
gosh, I
months.
can't even, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So budget season becomes a black hole, just so you all know. So what felt like it was 2 months ago becomes,
I
you know,
know,
like a
I
week.
know.
So,
I
yes,
bet.
anyhow,
Yeah.
thank you. So I just would love to share, as I did with the select board, Melissa passed her 90-day review with flying colors. She has been doing a phenomenal job. One of the first things that we talked about, as we discussed here, was going out, meeting with different groups in the community, and really seeing what services are available now so we don't duplicate, and trying to get an understanding of where the gaps are. So to that end, we've put together some documents for you. Well, Melissa put them together. I stapled them.
That was really helpful.
I try. I do what I can, you know. So we brought back My Senior Center, which allows for the data entry for the tracking for events. So in the process of taking old Excel spreadsheets and using them to update them, and information from Eloise. And you've started to add some things. I know Veterans Breakfast and going over to 19 Carter every week. And I have to say, I have seen an increase in foot traffic here at the town offices. Hello. often around, 1:30 to 1:45 in the afternoon, right when Melissa's about to leave. So I have to keep yelling at her because I never see her out of here before 2:45. And in fact, Sue and I were talking one day, and I happened to mention that, and sure enough, it was 2:42, and she sticks her head in my office and goes, "Hi, I'm leaving," and I went, "You have to stop doing that." So,
You know that's time management and
yeah.
part of your job.
well, I think it's hard to turn people away when they come at the end of the day. 'Cause
Absolutely.
the foot traffic is good, right?
That was
We
one of the
want people to
questions that
come.
I had.
But do you think,
So-
yeah,
So-
okay, go ahead.
So one of the questions I had was, cause it sounded like, you work currently 8 to 2, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, how many people come in between 8 and 9?
Not
How many
really
calls do you
many.
get between?
Probably just a couple, there's
Right.
usually a couple calls in the morning. I try to return calls,
Yeah.
from the previous
Yeah.
day at 9.
Yeah,
So I think the first hour gives me a chance to kind of look at my emails, what's
yeah.
press,
Was there
pressing
some-
and.
Setting rules in terms of the hours that she works? Is this position, I couldn't remember, is it exempt or non-exempt?
So it is non-exempt, it is a
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's a benefited position, it's 24 hours a week. So the hours we initially discussed were trying the 8 to 2 to see
Okay,
how that would work.
okay,
But it is subject, so, there have been a couple of times, like she had to come in on a Friday. I have paid her for
Right.
those hours for like a veterans breakfast that got
Right.
moved because of
Right.
the weather or things like that.
Yeah.
So, it's not a salaried position.
Okay.
It is an hourly position
Okay.
right now. So that is part of the, the issue that I'm having, and that Melissa is lovely and wonderful and willing to stay and help people. But obviously, I need to be able to pay her for the hours that she is working. So I wanted to make sure, I know time management is important, as you said. I wanted to know kind of what she's been doing, what she would be able to do if she had the extra hours. So that's incorporated into the first page here. And also there is a report that Melissa gave to the select board. Now again, the black hole starts. How long ago was that? 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was better at that
I
than
did watch
6
it,
months.
I did watch that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yep. So, and I'm sure you probably have questions for her and would rather hear from her than me, so I'll be quiet now. You're so welcome. I can read a room sometimes.
Can I say something
Oh,
first?
yes, yeah, I've got some questions too, so go
Okay,
ahead.
I kind of want to let you know where we were coming from, because sometimes I feel like sometimes we're a little misrepresented. Like we just went, nope, you're not getting those hours. And it was so far from that,
Right.
because Claire, myself, we had some members from FinCom come in
That was
and
a lot of
really
discussion.
talk about the COA.
Mhm.
Because we were getting, bombasted with, there's 38% of the population, and yet when we said, well, how many are using the service? And we got, well, I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure,
I don't know.
maybe 5 come to Tai Chi and maybe 8 go, and I'm probably getting this wrong, yoga.
They're about accurate flipped.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's the numbers we were getting.
Mhm.
And we're like, well, you're taking a 19.5-hour job and asking us to go almost, to double it.
Mhm.
Fiscally, not too cool. We need to make sure that, other departments need that money too.
Mhm.
And that is our job, is to make sure everybody gets a little piece of the pie.
Mhm.
And so, I want you to know that we didn't come in and say, no way, it's not
Right.
happening. We said, would somebody prove to us that there's really
That there's a
people
need.
that need it?
Right,
I admit, I got off my butt and I went to my second and third cousins that all live in town, and went to all of them, and we belong to a walking group that are a bunch of seniors, and it was,
Love it.
how many people have ever used Council on Aging?
Mhm.
And we kind of made it a little private mission. I had one person tell me that their mother used it.
Mm.
That was it.
Mhm.
So that's why we're really questioning this.
Mhm.
It's not, I think you're doing an amazing job.
mm-hmm,
I've heard all positive things about you, and I don't want you to take any of it
Yeah.
personally.
No, I get it. I understand.
But we gotta see some are people really using it yet? Cause I'm saying, Tai Chi, and
Yeah.
those were the same.
Yep. I mean, I think it's hard because it's gonna take a while before it catches up because in the last,
Mhm.
say, 5 years, there hasn't been any programs.
Right.
There hasn't been anything offered. So while I have some data, we are still missing some hard numbers.
Mhm.
My goal was to try to come in and start programs and see, hey, do they want informational sessions? Are they looking for, it's not so much the outreach, which is what I was used to. I thought it would be that. It would be housing applications and food assistance and, those things. And it's more they want to see crafting and they want to see bingo and things like that, the fun stuff. But I think along with that, we also need to provide informational sessions.
Right.
The hard part and the thing that for me with the additional hours, the target range is 60 plus. There's many people in Berlin that are still working full time. So if
Right.
we continue to only hold council on aging events between 8 and 2, well,
Right.
actually it would be a 12:30 start at the latest.
Mhm.
How many people are we missing?
Mhm.
Additional hours would give me time to
Mhm.
hold things at night. And perhaps they don't attend, but at least it's offered, I think. I just feel like we're missing a piece to the community. Maybe those are the people that we're supposed to be targeting, and the people that aren't coming are because they're the ones that are set and not needing the assistance as much.
Is there some flexibility in her hours during those days that she has to stay for a night event or have a night event? Is there some, instead of coming in that day at 8 a.m., she'd come in at 4 p.m. and stay until 7 or 8. That's what we're looking at, the flexibility, because I think some of the programs that you have here, I'll just say one of my jobs, if you will, when I worked was to educate our employees. We had 23,000 employees about retirement, Medicare A, Medicare B, the Advantage plans, the non-Advantage plans, Part D. So that was part of my job every single day, answering the phones and telling people about, what they need to do and how those work and all that. Because I think that's what, and I did notice that you had a program in here that you were talking about. For our seniors. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about it because he's looking at retirement and he's 68, so he has no clue on, and I said, I'm happy to help you, and by all means, but I think that's one thing that some folks may, so I was very happy to see that in there. Long story short, sorry.
Well, to answer your question on the flexibility in hours, that's one of the things that we have talked about. If you have to stay late, come in a little bit later the next day. But I would hate to start to have regular days where she's not here, because then the foot traffic will start to,
Yeah.
people will come and they'll go, well, I
Right.
thought she was here Monday through Thursday,
Right.
and we had to put her on at 4 p.m. for an event.
Yeah.
So I do have the funding in the budget to have some flexibility, but being respectful of the job description and the parameters that were put forth by the personnel committee, I've really tried to keep it
Yeah.
to 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there could be some flexibility there, that would be, I think, helpful as well. Melissa obviously is willing to go above and beyond, which I, very much appreciate, and I think there's a lot to do, and I know we do need to still build it and get numbers and data. I've just seen and heard, a lot of positive movement and, people coming in and actually like seeing people come in the hall and you walking down the hall with folks, and it's just nice. It's nice to
Good.
see that vibrancy. And
Good.
we have her up here on this floor in the old accounting office, so she's much more visible
Oh, okay.
to the public, and
Oh,
so
good.
that's helping, I
Which
think, too.
office is that?
221.
Oh, great. Because I was gonna say, where is it?
How do they find
comes
you?
on.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, that was part of the
Well,
problem too.
see,
We were in like the dungeon
Yeah,
basement.
yeah, and I had never been in at all for anything, so
Right.
That's, okay,
So
great.
now even if someone comes to like D in my
Yeah,
office or the treasurer or the town clerk, we can say, oh, just come right down the hallway on the right, you know.
Great.
You know, and you're also back and forth and much more visible too, I think, because you're up here, so that helps as well.
Yeah.
What other questions?
When is her survey going out? You have a survey you said that you're gonna spin up, because.
Yes.
We do have the survey, Dee has looked at it, Kristen now has it
Yep.
for final approval.
Okay, because I just, you know, the last survey got 4 responses, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you that. We did it
No.
through the Powder House News and we
Oh my
only
gosh.
got 4 responses.
I
So,
think got 4.
Mhm.
Oh, no, some people got it in the mail too. So I think, anyways,
Okay.
4
4
responses.
responses.
So you can see where our skepticism
Mhm.
is based,
Mhm.
and it's really, like I said, nothing to do with you.
Right.
Right,
You're
it's
doing a great
numbers
job.
and watching,
You know,
budgeting and,
and as many people that come to us after and say, why didn't you do this for the COA? And then other people went, yeah, you're on the right trail. You know, so we have to listen to them too on both sides.
Yeah.
So I think I'm really just, you know, just having concerns, and I wanna see, I think we deserve to see some numbers. You know,
Okay.
the Veterans Breakfast, I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
The numbers, those are just the veterans that you're telling us, right?
Mhm.
Those aren't the public safety
Nope.
workers that go
No,
down
that
to Steel
is,
Breakfast?
no, that is just the veterans, yeah.
Does the donor know that the public safety people go down and steal breakfast?
I don't think they eat when they're down there. Or I haven't seen
Oh,
Well,
any.
they
yes.
have, but,
Oh. That's if there's leftovers after, right?
yes, well, if there's leftovers after, I send it to the office. This past one, we were given 20 breakfast burritos, or breakfast sandwiches, and there was 14 that had come in by like 10 o'clock, and then we had a couple others, so we did have some extras, that had already purchased.
But you make sure that everybody
Normally
has
it
food
goes,
before
yeah,
it,
yeah, our veterans get first, I mean, unless you come at 10:30, and the hard part with that was the people that came in weren't signed up.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I had
bet.
a few that we kind of account for and make
Right.
sure that
Oh,
we
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
come from the food industry, so I know.
okay,
You guys wanna have a couple extra, so we did, I had 6 people show up last time that
Yeah.
weren't on the list, so, but the people that showed up that, we only had 2 sandwiches and there were like 6 of them, so,
yeah.
You don't
but
wanna
yeah,
turn people
they were,
away, but
yeah,
they need
they
to
were, it was
register.
10:30 when they had showed up, they came from Hudson, they were at another event or something,
Yeah.
they came down, so,
You know, do
But
you
yeah,
do
it
that
does-
with the veterans? I can't remember the new guy's name, I still wanna go Jill.
That's what I had written down. here.
Brian.
So, okay, so, Brian,
Yep, he, do it in conjunction with him.
so why is this position doing that then? Why isn't it? Because we're paying a veterans agent, so
For 2
what
hours.
does the veterans agent do?
Yeah, so he really is here 2 hours a week if people have benefits questions, and that's at just Wednesdays, 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And processing, Brian actually processes any paperwork that comes through for the benefits, and Jim will physically be here Wednesdays if somebody wants to come and meet on site, if they need to hand in something they don't wanna drop off or scan or what have you. So that position doesn't really have the capacity to take this on. And it's something we did before, right?
I did it with Lyndon.
Okay.
The Council on Aging
Oh,
was the one
okay.
that ran the veterans breakfast.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, what a great event.
Yeah.
No,
No,
and
and
I'm
I'm
not
not
saying-
saying,
but,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
Didn't know what the gentleman did, cause I'm on the auxiliary, we're meeting next in this room, and tonight, and I think that there have been some questions as to what the veterans agent does, because when we're contacted, and I don't think there was much that we got back
Okay.
from.
Yeah, it's mostly the chapter 115 benefits that are managed from the state, so if you qualify for those extra benefits, unfortunately, that they can help you do the paperwork
Okay.
and get those additional benefits that come through the town.
All right,
And that's really, unfortunately, the only function of
Okay.
the position.
I didn't know,
No, that's
I
fair.
just wanted to ask the question.
And then those veterans that come are the they're only seniors or all veterans?
We've opened it up to all veterans, but it's all seniors. Everybody is 60, well, actually, I think most of them are in their 70s or 80s that are attending.
But you got the list from Brian?
Yes, I did.
Because I just
Oh,
happen
good.
to know
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
veterans that didn't get an invite or don't know anything about it. So you might wanna double check with him again, if he gave you
Well,
a complete list.
so the list that he gave me was 157 people. So.
Did
we-
you go through, I mean, I
I
actually.
did not, I did
How
not
did you-
mail
I
out
was gonna
every.
say, how did you get that
No,
out?
I-
Geez.
Yeah,
I
no,
did,
I understand too, if you only do 60 Dover.
Yes, so we did, honestly, it was posting it, at 19 Carter, the general store,
Yep.
our Facebook,
Mhm.
and then, Bob Blair, actually, our board chair,
Okay.
he made a few calls to people that he knew were in his
And we did in the auxiliary.
group. I was
as
gonna say, I
well,
think
yeah.
Susan Seed had asked
Susan
me.
and-
Yeah.
Susan and Jane did, yes.
So that's kind of where we're at, which is also part of, the hours is the marketing and
Yep.
flyers and getting information out there.
Yep.
I'm coming from a place where I was just outreach and I had everybody else.
Yeah.
And I come here and so you're dealing with budget and fiscal stuff
Yeah.
and then you're dealing with booking the programs, advertising the programs,
Yeah.
tracking the deposits for all the programs. So it's a little bit different than what I was used to. So I think advertising and marketing here has been really, really tough to get the word out.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
put
yeah.
it Northbrook, it's in all those places. I contacted them this
Yeah.
week. She's like, yeah, I'll hang the flyers, no problem. So I really don't know in that aspect of what else to do. I've kind of
No,
exhausted for
that's a
marketing,
Berlin
like what.
problem everywhere.
We
That's
could
just a-
actually
yeah,
put
that's
at the
just a
bottom
big-
of the survey a couple of information on like, oh, we have a monthly veterans breakfast. Like maybe we could
Okay.
put a couple key events down at the
Okay,
bottom of
at
that
the
survey.
bottom.
So even if they don't return the survey,
Yeah,
maybe they'll at
that's a
least know
big-
about the events.
I mean,
Right.
that's a Berlin.
flyer at town meeting. Oh, that's a good idea. We
Mm.
should have something on the table because
Okay.
everyone will walk past the
That's a
table
great
and
idea.
grab their
Yep.
warrants. Great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As
No.
someone who has struggled with getting information
Yeah,
out
you-
for 10 years now.
You
It's
know how it
funny, it's
goes.
one of those, I think you cross everything and people are like, well, I still don't know about it. I was like, I don't know how else to get it
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
we've
No,
exhausted
right.
everything, I'm just
Right.
kind of like,
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, sometimes people have said, oh, put it on the cable, but we
Yeah.
don't even have there's not even a bulletin board on our cable channels.
yeah,
Right.
so
You know,
what,
it's
yeah,
a
what is
little,
that?
they're trying now, it's getting better, it's going
Yeah.
back to, but it's just a little,
How many
yeah.
people even have cable anymore?
And then, right, and then
Yeah.
hardly
Yeah.
anybody takes it.
We've
Yeah.
gone down 25%. We were looking at the numbers because our cable agreement is up.
Yeah.
25% decrease since we signed the agreement in 16.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
Streaming
well,
is,
believe me,
yeah,
Streaming is
That's
the
what we do.
thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't know if we could ever figure it out.
I have a TV, it's in my house.
I know, oh goodness. Also, on the grab-and-go meals, how does that usually work? Is that through WheatWheat? Because I know a friend of ours, he volunteers at WheatWheat, and he delivers to Berlin people, so.
So they do, we provides the lunches and, I guess like a Meals on Wheels type of thing.
Yeah.
Which is separate from Mock, which is what we use for our Meals on Wheels, is through Making
Oh.
Opportunity Count. They're based out
Oh.
of Fitchburg.
Okay,
The grab and go meals had been successful, and I think we're trying to pivot that a little bit because it was mostly during COVID. So it was trying to get people out to
Yeah.
grab a meal, maybe
Yeah.
talk a little bit.
yeah,
But we're finding that we're still just delivering to a
Mhm.
lot of people, and it's
Mhm.
not really getting them out
Yeah.
anymore. And where COVID's not
yeah,
as abundant as it was. Somebody on my board actually said maybe we do, a different type of meal.
yeah.
So this month for May, what I'm doing is either a grab and go or a stay and eat. So we'll set up a few tables. They just
Yeah.
need to let me know if they want to stay, to give them a place to have a dinner. Financially, it just helps those that aren't getting
Yeah.
the hot
Yeah.
meals or that are eating, white pasta and all the
Okay.
stuff that's not great for us.
Now,
but-
in terms of the expenses that
Mhm.
you put on your list here,
Mhm.
are these monthly expenses?
No, I think I put the total from November.
Okay,
If I can,
all right.
yes, yes.
All right, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
That's
oh
from
my
when I
word.
started, yeah.
How much? That's $100 a meal.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's, the grab and go meals work out to about between $16 and $18. And, some people pay $5, some people pay more than that.
Yeah,
Some people aren't blessed enough to pay that, so it's kind of helping, everybody in the.
and how do people sign up with you for
Yeah,
that?
yep, they register, they just have to call me and tell me what meal they want, and then if they
Okay.
want it delivered or grab and go.
And,
Then we do bags,
okay,
and then
and do we
They just
have
pick
that anywhere? Have we ever?
it's usually in Powderhouse News.
Okay,
I did give it to Dee, I think, for May. And then it's
Luncheon.
also on the typical flyers, like I post them at 19 Carter, just
Okay.
got them
all right,
for May.
okay,
They're on my cork board, I usually put one out front,
all right.
the store, and then it's on Facebook.
That's
So I
the
usually do
first
it
I
like
had
the
ever
week
heard of
before, or the
those.
month before.
I know, I've
I
heard,
had never heard of those.
Could you do that at the post office, or is there like only certain things that can
I
go
heard
to the
somebody
post
told
office?
me that,
With it being a
how
federal
come I didn't get to know about it?
We could
Because
ask.
5 people did.
They
It's
have
so
a bulletin
funny,
board
yeah.
They
It's-
did at one time.
It is, and so May actually, so some people knew at Northbrook, and some people said that they didn't know, and
Yeah.
so now that is one of the flyers that I shared
Okay.
with Sharon. She's the property manager in
Beautiful.
2.
Yeah,
Northbrook 1 doesn't have an on-site manager, so it's a little bit harder to get information to them. But I did just ask a resident that is in 1 if he wouldn't mind sticking it on the board for me when he went to check his mail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he said yes.
Now, on that May, for instance, on
So-
May 28th at 4:15.
Yeah.
Will people come here?
Yeah, so they pick up, they just come to the front door, and usually there's somebody from my board that'll
Oh, okay,
text down to somebody that's in the room,
okay,
and they'll just say, like, Sergeant is here, and they'll grab the bags and bring them out.
okay,
And then we have all the deliveries, which Amy, Grenier and her mom usually deliver.
yeah,
They were not available, so Bob did it last time.
yeah,
But primarily it's in the Northbrook Village,
okay,
and then there's a few, like I think there were 3 others,
Alright.
but
yeah, I was
most
just,
of them are pick up.
Flyer
Curious.
could go with the food pantry too.
Okay,
That's a good idea.
okay.
oh,
June
that's,
just had said at the post office, maybe, you at least used to have a community
I
bulletin
thought they
board.
used to have one out in the hallway, but I don't know what the criteria is to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when you go
can
in.
ask the
Might be worth
postmaster.
looking into.
Okay.
so my questions, I asked you about the, calls from 8 to 9, and, maybe there's some flexibility there, working, visits from seniors. Now, I noticed that Lisa's doing some senior work off. Is Peggy Sardell still working with you, as a senior work off to
She,
coordinate the senior work off?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so she's still coordinating. Lisa is doing a data entry project for me to
Beautiful,
catch up on
yeah,
all that data entry, because I
Good.
said to Kristen, I was like, I can't do all of that too.
right,
That's what
Um,
the senior work-off
So,
program is for.
yeah, so I
That's great.
got her on board. She just started, I think her first day was yesterday that she actually started it.
great,
But she's just tracking her hours, and we'll just sign off, but.
all right.
Back to the grab and go. Just the other questions that are out there, the donations,
Mhm.
when people give you money,
Mhm.
how do you handle that?
It goes on the form that, I don't know what the name of it is. Under donations, I have to list like grab and go from what the meal is and how many we got.
The
Where do you-
receivables that gets deposited to the treasurer's office.
Yeah,
Where do you put the
Yeah.
money?
in my drawer, in my file cabinet, locked.
And then you give it to the treasurer.
And then I give it to the
next day.
treasurer when yeah.
Yeah. It's not there.
It's not, it's sometimes not the next day, but it's usually a couple days, yeah.
Let's make it the next day.
Okay.
Sooner is always better, that is very true.
Yeah, let's not leave any money hanging around. That's just,
Okay.
that's putting you in a bad situation. You don't need to be there.
Okay.
Okay, I have a ton of questions, but I'm done.
No more questions?
I'll stop. I have to save some for Carolyn.
right? So,
Well, no, I guess the other, no, I do have one more.
Sure.
Go on.
No, I do have one more. I mean, we really did want, the reach out, like to go to 19 Carter and to talk to, what are you learning from those? When you go to, what have you learned? What have you, like the top 3, you don't have to go through the whole thing, I don't need to know everything.
I think they like having the availability to me in a place that they're already attending. Instead of having to make an extra trip or an extra phone call, I'm there on Wednesday, so they're kind of saving their questions and stuff for that time, which has been convenient for them. I think typical, we wanna see more, but they don't really know what. So I'm hoping that that's what the survey can kind of get them to dial in and focus on crafting or cake decorating or something specific. And we do hear a lot about the van or transportation.
Which we are working on.
Which is another.
It's been impossible to get van
I
drivers.
think that's a really hard thing, I don't think people understand it all.
Yeah.
Getting van drivers, getting any type of bus driver right now is
Yeah,
impossible.
It
It is.
Right,
And we've been
right.
talking,
Yep,
we met with the
yep.
WRTA and the MWRTA, because, we're a border town, if you will, which is kind
Right.
of a weird phrase.
right,
Yeah.
But we have that microtransit grant right
Mhm.
now, where it's going door to door, Berlin to point to Hudson, anywhere in Hudson, and
Beautiful.
then points in Marlboro.
yep.
So we're talking about how we can expand on that. Or if we wanna come back into the WRTA, system and have them do it, unfortunately, we're still required to hire the van drivers. So they
Really?
do all of the dispatching, they handle the van, the repairs, all of that.
Insurance, everything like that.
Right, but
Yeah.
we still have, people have to be personnel of the town.
Oh,
So-
And we get reimbursed, like they will pay the salary, so
Cause it comes off the backside of the cherry sheet.
Yeah.
It's an assessment from the state,
Okay.
so,
yeah.
Would that be an easier way though to handle, 'cause right now, you ask them to come in on Tuesday and there's only 3 runs, they only get paid for those 3 runs.
Right.
Would that help that way, will the state reimbursement help? Do they pay more or?
We pay comparably, we asked
Yeah,
that
we
question.
did.
No, I meant
Yeah.
cover the hours
Oh,
that
the
they're
additional
sitting and
hours?
waiting.
I think if we had more standard hours, that might help, and so those are the conversations we're continuing to
Yeah.
have. Peggy has a lot of data from previous years that we're gonna get to the RTA, and they're gonna crunch it and kind of see where people are going and help us figure out
what our best option is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
did say it's not the pay, it's
Yeah.
really a struggle everywhere.
Yeah.
They also said one of the options is you can pair with another town, so that's a thought as well. The van is just, now it's 5 years old, it needs, repairs, it has issues, that
Yep.
costs us money, that comes out of the donation account a lot of times,
Yep.
because that's something that's not budgeted for, and that could be going to programming, instead, which would be great. They don't actually typically give people the vans, we got the van from a state rep, so we're totally outside of the WRTA system right now. So we're trying to figure out what we
Do
can
you spend a lot of time, are you having to do anything with the transportation at the moment? Or do you have to book these people with the MWRTA?
No, so they're handling, they handle the dispatch for the runs that they're doing now.
Right,
So it
so
goes through
how,
them.
so the town people, they know where to call? Do they call you and you say, this is where you need to call, or do they call?
No, I haven't had any calls. They actually, WRTA did a flyer to,
a mailer.
to homes. So
Okay.
Check your mail.
hopefully
I
everyone in
read my
Berlin should have
mail
gotten one.
every single day, and I
Yeah.
don't ever,
Yeah, it was a postcard and had like the van on the front, and on the back it has all the rules, the description of who to call, the hours.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
'Cause
so
it's what, 6 to 6 Monday
yeah,
through
6:45 to
Friday.
6:45 Monday through Friday, and then 8 to 6 on Saturdays.
okay,
And from what I've heard, the longest, so it's an on demand. So when you're ready,
yeah,
they're saying you should give like 15-20 minutes. But
Oh.
the longest somebody had to wait was 30 minutes for a ride from when they called. They were
Wow.
picking her up at 30 minutes later. So
wow,
it's, I think, been a good service to have.
great,
Some of that with the driver and issues is
Yeah.
the reliability. we're telling people, yes, we have this, then all of a sudden we don't have a driver, and then they just stopped calling it, so we're trying to figure out on the back end
Okay.
how to make this a better system, and what to do from here.
It's an 18-month grant, so then
Yeah.
we figure out what to do from there. too.
Yeah, so,
I wanna talk to the school bus companies.
They pay a lot to their drivers.
No, they pay a lot for the runs, but they're free in the middle of runs.
Ah, interesting.
I wonder, would they already be stay on theirs, and we would something to
just-
figure out, yeah.
Somebody to check.
School bus.
Mhm.
I wonder if I threw that out.
Now she's thinking.
Because I
Now I
tease
know.
her, I tease her all the time. I said, that's what I want to do when I grow up. I want to drive the Council on Aging van.
Do you
I-
want to do
Do you
it?
wanna
Really?
drive?
We
I've
need
been
someone
saying
to
that
drive.
to her for 5
No,
years.
she doesn't.
Well, she just said she did.
If she does, she can't be
Can't
on
be here.
personnel anymore.
That's right, that's right.
Well, we can make you a special municipal employee. There's
Oh,
reserves.
We can't be on anything else.
But
So-
we've always had that kind
Does
of
everything
standing thing
conflict
that I,
with- does
you know, that I thought would be a great job after coming from the stressful environment and you guys, I mean.
That's what my
You just talk to
dad did.
people and you say hello and, yeah.
My dad
Exactly.
retired and he did, he worked for Knights Airport Limousine and
Yeah.
drove people to the airport for
Yeah.
a while till he got
Wow.
tired of going into Boston.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, oh, God. So, what's our next step? Any thoughts? Would you like to make any recommendations or motions? Or,
I'm comfortable with adding some hours right now. I actually would rather wait until we get like some of the, surveys back, or a couple programs where you can actually say to us, this many people came. When we originally spoke about this, we said we would build up slowly
Yeah.
and see the things come, so, I think, I understand that the demand is there, and maybe 3 hours to add on right now, and then, this isn't a done deal. This is, come back, because I
When
just.
you have more data come back.
Yeah,
I'd like- can I make a motion?
Yeah, you can too. Go
Okay.
ahead, I'll let you.
I'd like
chair.
to make a motion that we go up at least the 4 hours a week. And that way, there's one additional hour each day, and
Yep.
then,
And
If-
maybe we do look at like 9 to 4
Okay.
or something, you know what I
Instead
mean?
of
So
the
it's
8 to the
more
9 to-
coverage during
Right,
the
I'm just
day, if you're not
thinking-
getting a lot of
yeah,
early
I'm
mornings.
just
we
thinking
can
that,
figure that out. We can-
because I think it is gonna pick up for you once.
Me too. I
Once
do
we get
too.
going on this.
Yeah.
But I thought that at least that way you know that you're gonna get paid for 28 hours each week. And again, the flexibility of moving I don't know if there's any flexibility of moving the hours around.
Yeah,
Or
I
whether
think
they
it's
meet
definitely a
your
discussion.
needs too.
I think
and-
we initially started with the 8 to 2 to try to match the hours that people were already here. So if
Right.
they're paying their property
Yeah.
taxes and they're like,
They come
oh,
from
wait a
home.
minute,
Yeah,
let me just go
exactly.
see Melissa.
No, and
So you might wanna think about Wednesday night, when they're all here.
Well,
if
together.
that,
yeah.
if that works for you, and
Like
as long as if it
later-
works
later
into your
Wednesday.
private life
Well,
as well.
If we
but-
had the 6 hours, we could add the 2 hours on Wednesday nights. Just saying, just throwing that out there.
Go ahead.
I know, and you're, well, of course, more than welcome to say no, but I'm just throwing that out there.
But if
I'm
Melissa
in a good
does,
mood today.
but if she works extra right now, she gets paid the extra, right?
She does, but there really isn't overtime in the budget.
To some extent,
No
what we're more
overtime.
doing is trying to adjust hours.
hours.
All right.
Yeah, cause
Okay.
there is the money in the
'Cause she's
budget,
not
but I
over 40.
really
Right.
haven't
Oh,
been able to
overtime.
pay more than 24, so we're just then
Okay.
adjusting the hours.
Okay.
There was like 1 or 2 occasions that we put in,
Okay.
when it was like on a Friday, like
Yeah.
I mentioned
Yeah.
for something, but.
It was like that within the 2 weeks. It was the COA meeting, the vets breakfast,
Yeah.
and like the
Yeah.
department head meeting was all
Yeah.
in that same time.
But
So-
that's for like specific events, that's
Yeah.
not really covering the overflow during the day, so that's the.
That also, by going up to
Yep.
the 28,
Mhm.
that also gives us the ability to hear back from Melissa
Right.
as to where we are and how can the personnel committee also help you in some ways or, make suggestions. I don't know if any of our suggestions have been helpful at all or, but I'd like to
Yeah,
make.
no, I just feel comfortable going, like, we spent hours going over this job.
Yeah.
And I feel, Kristen did the whole job description, and I've said to Kristen, I felt like she was the only person that came and advocated for this position, so that made me a little uncomfortable too. Where's all the seniors that should be advocating for this? So, yeah, I will second the 4.
Okay.
And then please, when you get some numbers, come back.
Absolutely.
I'll try to be nicer.
Oh, no, thank you.
So, no, and again, it's no reflection on whatsoever.
No,
We're just,
Understood.
we're
Yeah.
just kind of,
you
doing
need
this
proof.
slowly.
It's the same as
and-
why
and-
don't we have a senior center?
But we wanna be.
I'm not fighting for a center right now because we don't have the
No.
numbers to show that we need to
You
build
don't
a
have the
building
numbers.
or.
Plus, it sounds
have
like
something
you've
for
got a good
ourselves.
rapport going with,
Yeah.
the folks at 19 Carter.
Yeah,
too, so
yeah.
that's,
Absolutely.
Yep.
And based on my experience and where I see the need and the fact that if we do it in a strategic way, I really think that we can meet those unmet needs that
Yeah.
maybe people aren't clamoring for it, but that doesn't mean there isn't a need out
Right.
there. So that's why I've advocated for it so
Right.
strongly, because I really do believe that that need is there. And I understand the importance of documentation and data, and we'll continue. And how many times have I said data to you? I think she's sick
So-
of hearing it from me.
So this has
But,
been
yeah.
6 months for you.
Yeah.
In another 3 months, if you find, we got 90 days here and you get this survey out, we start getting some information in, and you have some thoughts about any other things that are,
Yeah.
we're happy to sit
Yeah,
with you
absolutely.
again. Kristen will come to us again and she'll say, it's really, we're getting a very good response. We really wanna move forward with all these things and we'd like to move Melissa up to the,
Yeah.
32 hours, what have you.
Thank you.
I think you actually took a formal vote because I cut you off.
We were trying to,
So
but you
I did.
interrupted.
I
So you
interrupted.
seconded my motion. All
I'll
those
hang
in
my head in
favor?
shame.
Aye.
Aye. So we vote.
I will. All right.
Well, thank you so much for
Now go
coming.
home with your
Thank you, I
daughter.
appreciate
This was really nice, and it
Thank
was
you, I
nice hearing-
appreciate the
And
time.
I enjoyed reading all this,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
this
I mean-
information too.
Yeah,
Thank
once we
you.
get more, I certainly understand more data
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, it was hard to go, to double somebody's hours when there was absolutely no numbers. And
Sure.
it's, Kristen would sit here and we'd go, well, how many,
Yeah,
and it's not even, nothing to do with her, it wasn't her fault,
Right,
but
right.
nobody gave her numbers.
numbers.
Great. Well, thank you. and
Which is what I have
very
now.
nice to meet you.
You too, thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
I think you're up.
I'll leave my phone there, but don't let me leave it.
Oh, you have, oh, here we go. Can she have that one? I brought you copies.
Oh, look at you.
Okay.
Hi. Hi. Well, I have an easy one, I think, right?
Yes, just a few edits to the job. We do need to post it. Maddie is moving on.
Yeah.
And we are sad. Yeah, HIPAA.
Right.
Oh, that's okay, we're on camera. You didn't hear anything.
Right.
But,
Right.
yes, she is willing to stay on.
Regretfully, she is.
Yes,
Yes,
very
and
regretfully.
she's gonna stay either till we find somebody or until, what'd she say, the end of August?
End of August.
Yeah.
So hopefully we
does
can
that mean
find
she's
someone
gonna
then.
stop doing the owls?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Let's
No,
get down to the
no,
important stuff, right?
right,
The
well,
owls.
exactly, so I did talk to her
That's
about,
serious things.
because,
It was.
so, that on her part was a 5-year commitment.
Oh, I didn't realize
And,
that.
yeah,
I do.
um,
Yep, okay.
yeah,
I remember her
so-
saying, that, yep, she had
Yep.
to commit.
So, we're not gonna get rid of her that easy.
Yeah.
And, she is gonna continue to do the owls and the songbirds in the summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
The what?
Songbirds.
Oh,
If you're ever up early in the summer.
yeah,
On the weekends,
yeah.
often either a Saturday or Sunday, I think she does 10, either 8 or 10 times she goes up, and she has mist nets that she puts in the woods, and they capture songbirds and tag them. She's a licensed bird bander,
Wow.
and they track them where, and then she reports to, she's gonna kill me for not actually knowing but it's part of a larger
Okay.
organization nationwide, and they report the bird, they weigh them, right?
Wow.
I now know how to weigh a songbird. You put them head first into a pill bottle on the scale. Right?
It is so cool. I've
Wow.
only seen pictures.
I hate to,
Oh,
they
my
did this at the
word.
farm that I grew up on in Bolton when I was, so many, many years ago.
Many moons?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
A couple of years ago.
But it was so cool to sit and just, because there's so many birds at the horse farm,
Sure.
and it's just so cool. But she does
Wow.
owls too.
Yeah, and then in the fall, she does the
Love
saw-whet owls.
Yeah.
Little baby,
Oh my God.
And because they're migrating in the fall. And last year, they got 105 saw-whets.
Here.
So, yeah,
He-
at Agar Woods.
Wow.
Yep.
So Agar Woods is up on Ball Hill Road,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
And so she's now, this summer will be the third summer. We have a forestry plan that we're working on. We actually are trying to schedule a site walk with the forester. And the intent is to enhance the habitat there for birds. And so then the work will happen, and then she'll do it, more afterwards. So we'll have data beforehand and afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So-
she is resigning her more administrative position, is that it?
Her paid position.
Her paid,
Yes.
okay.
So that, she does the bird banding as part of this other organization.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
she is gonna still be around.
Okay. And how many hours was her position? 10?
She's 10 now, yeah.
10 hours.
Yeah, so when we created this document, it was, ideally, what would we like to happen? And then, when this came up, I went through it and just kind of edited a couple of things took some stuff out that she doesn't do and
Okay.
added some stuff that she does do.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Mass DEP's e-filing portal.
yep,
Wow.
she got us set up on that.
Okay.
And like where are you guys looking on the first page?
But, okay, go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah, so those, the wetlands protection stuff is the stuff that supports our legal obligation,
yeah.
right?
Right.
And then the other stuff is, so she does take the minutes, which, Louise used to do before Maddie started.
So
And those are complex
with the
minutes.
Berlin building permits,
Yeah.
is there another process?
still in here?
That, at the very, no, you
Oh, right,
crossed
that's
it
crossed
off.
out, because I
So-
do that.
so- Oh, you do all that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Take minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But minutes for conservation are very complex, as I've learned over the years, especially because they can end up in court.
Yeah.
So they
And
have to
especially when
be
they have those NOIs and stuff.
very precise.
Yeah, exactly, it's land use
Yeah.
stuff, so it can't be bullet points, it has to be much
Mhm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna take over the treasurer stuff too?
She already has, right, so we had a member who would take care of keeping track of how much money we had.
Yeah.
And, Maddie has now taken over that as well, and processing the bills and the, schedules and
Wow.
reimbursements, and, yeah, so she does a lot of the a lot of the paperwork stuff, but she also knows a lot about, the Wetlands Protection Act, so she
Right.
advises us, and, yeah, so she's
Okay.
been invaluable.
But she
Okay.
does the budget with you, right?
Correct. Yep.
Cause it just says that she prepares it and I just,
Yeah.
you do it with her.
So basically,
Okay.
she's still gonna be available to help if needed, volunteer.
Yep, and if we find someone before she really needs to not be around,
Okay.
she is gonna train them.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Reading all the changes that were made to the job description, I'd like to make a motion that we approve it
I approve
as
this.
revised.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. And now that we just fought over somebody else's hours, how's she doing with hours?
It
It's
seems to
still
be
tight,
good.
or is the 10?
The 10 seems to be better, for sure. The 8 was just, you know,
Yeah.
and honestly, I bet she really works more than that.
I
Oh,
bet.
You know.
Don't say
yeah,
that
I
out
know.
loud.
I bet, I don't know.
We don't know anything like that.
Right.
We'll make sure the
Um,
next person works 10 hours.
No, I'm just,
Yeah.
I mean, like I just
I
said,
know.
we have to watch, you wanna watch all of the groups.
Yeah.
You know, we're watching the library
The
struggle.
goal
and-
is to make it easy, not easy, but acceptable to the employee, because you want them to be happy.
Sure.
And as well as acceptable to everybody, you know, the budget, the finance, everything else too.
Right.
So that's the
Right.
goal.
And, you know, the thing with us is it's kind of a feast or famine kind of thing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we can have a couple of weeks where we don't really have much going on and, you know, our meeting is 30 minutes long,
Yeah.
which is rare, but
Right.
we have a lot of talkers too.
You know, as long as they
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah.
Oh,
You-
They
yeah.
used to go for
Yeah,
ever.
because we had
Mhm.
even different talkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, that's great.
Yeah, so, you know, we do try to keep it concise.
So will this get posted now, the 10,
Yes,
since we've changed the?
so needed to have obviously a revised job description approved,
Okay.
so we could form the job ad off of it and
Great.
post it. And then hopefully get somebody in time for Maddie to train
Great.
before she.
Be nice if she could spend some
Goals.
time, because she does do a variety.
Correct.
She does a real variety of things.
Yep.
So I think that's,
Yeah. And, you know, for me, the most important is the wetlands protection stuff. The other stuff,
Yeah.
will come in time, and if I have to step in while someone's getting up to speed, I used to do it all, so.
well, it's okay, just
Um,
get ready, because my grandson's got a microscope, and they're going to the brook,
Nice.
and they're gonna start looking at the water, which is
Oh.
really scary if you think of where that water is coming from.
Don't-
But this is their big thing for tomorrow, I
Yeah.
think.
That's awesome. That's wonderful.
I just realized the
Love to
page
see.
numbers are messed up. I will
Oh.
fix the page numbers.
Well,
Yeah.
that's great.
2 of 2 and 3
Three
of 2. There you
I
go.
did not know you could have page 3 of 2, but
Sure.
apparently with Word you
What do you
can.
think?
Yeah.
So I will fix that first, and then we'll update the date that you approved it, and that would be 4/23.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much. We
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
And we appreciate all the work that you do for that group.
I do try.
I know.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
I'm gonna
Thanks.
take this and
Yes,
put it in
okay.
my pile of.
Don't forget your phone.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah. That would
All
be
right, guys.
good.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, so job ad and posting will get set up. Okay, the next item of business is the PAFs. Do we have any of those?
We sure do. I've been collecting
Oh,
them.
God. Yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna make you guys meet when
No,
there's
right,
not like a
right.
reason, cause I don't wanna waste your
That
time,
makes
but
total-
obviously,
Total sense. As
want
long as
you
if
to
June's
sign
seen
off.
everything,
Oh,
and
yes.
she's done everything she needs to do.
they, oh yeah,
right?
June does not let payroll go without a PAF that is
Okay,
complete,
great.
so we
Great.
make
Yeah.
sure we're there.
That's my job, to be the
That's-
pain in the butt.
That's your job,
Yep.
and you do it well, and I mean that as a compliment, not as a negative thing. We did have, and actually I was gonna try to put this would make sense chronologically to do this first. The clerk for the Board of Health, did resign, and the Board of Health has hired a new clerk. Same job description, same number of hours, obviously, that doesn't get appointed by the select board because
Yeah.
they're an independently elected board, but I'm sure it's in here. This is the hiring, for Valerie Muldoon, who is the new Board of Health clerk.
Values?
Yes. It was advertised and.
Yeah, no, no.
Just so you know, it
She's
did go
crazy.
through a public
Yeah, I
process.
think I saw it somewhere. I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
She's not getting many miles if she's sitting on her butt doing this.
We could, we
I
could
don't
call
You're gonna kick her out of the
and say,
group?
I
"Hey."
haven't met her, I don't know her.
Oh,
So, okay, that's great.
told you they think we're
And
all
then Sue
friends.
Regiera is the person who,
No,
No.
Donna,
Donna,
Donna Trailer.
Donna, yes,
Donna
thank you, I
Trailer.
had a name in my
Okay.
head, Donna Trailer,
Donna.
Trailer.
and that's
Trailer.
coming.
Okay, great.
All right, and then we have a step, I'm sorry, nope, we have another hire. This one has been out there for a while, but we were finally able to get a building maintenance operator so that Ken could go over to the highway department as a lateral transfer. We have a Mr. Michael Jenkins who will be starting next week.
Great.
And
Really
he
nice guy.
asked for a little extra time, I heard, to finish out his current
He was,
assignments,
it was
which
quite,
was
Nice to
impressive.
hear.
quite impressive to have somebody say, you know, when can you start? Well, I'm almost done a project for my company that I'm with now.
Yeah.
Can it just be
Yeah.
3 weeks instead of Fred
You're
was like,
dedicated,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Right. Oh,
All right, this one is a sad one. We do have the retirement of Frank Brewer
Yeah.
from the fire department. He is gonna still stay on in a volunteer capacity with certain, duties that he can still do, but it is an age-required retirement.
mm-hmm.
That is state law.
He was the
Yeah.
little kid.
Wow. Many moons.
I know, huh?
It's been here forever.
All right, and then we have a new recreation program counselor, Benjamin Lane. Oh, we have two. Juliana Mancini, also Berlin Recreation Program Counselor.
Okay, great.
All right, and then we have a contractual step increase for Officer Thomas McDonald.
M-A-C or M-C?
MC capital D.
Okay. Is that FD or PD?
PD. And,
Having a little difficulty with the department head on these two.
oh, we got,
The department head signature.
yep, these are old, from October.
Okay,
That's why.
okay.
It took quite some time to get all of the paperwork together for those.
Yeah,
and a
I
lot
think
times
some of
we
these
get
should
the
be-
PAF.
And some of these should be checked on too, because I know that some of the parents, just because I have a parent as a child,
Yep,
you know, who are the adults that are doing, like, I know they aren't gonna do it much longer, that after-school program.
yep,
I think we need to keep an eye on who's actually in there in charge. I think we have PAFs for all the names that I heard.
yeah, we have really been harping on that and making
But
sure
I'm
we have
not
work permits
sure.
and all of the,
I'm talking the adults,
oh, the adults?
some of the
Oh.
adults that are in there.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we
Okay.
have all the correct,
I haven't heard that, so I will,
no, I just,
we'll
Are
check
they
it out.
volunteers?
I'm not sure.
Does that go right into your computer, Chris?
This is an iPad, okay, so this
She's
came from
gotten so
Tim
good at
Wysocki, so I have to tell you
Oh,
from, and Lisa
Oh,
Wysocki.
they're so good.
Lisa came to a meeting and had this one day, and it has literally changed my whole life.
Well, Lisa will not use paper.
I try not to, because
Wow.
well, it is environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
So I have a stack of notebooks this high from when I
Right,
started,
Right.
but you can't organize it. So it's day by day. Here I have little folders for every single type of thing. Like I have a personnel committee file, and I
Yeah.
have a board of selectmen
Right.
file. It's amazing.
Wow.
I still do paper.
Well,
I
they
know.
also, of course,
I'm a
right around the
paper
time I
person.
went and looked,
I
and they went
like-
on sale for $1.99, and I went, oh my gosh, I have to do this, and
Yeah.
it has just
Therapeutic, I
I
That's
live-
great.
changed my life.
Oh, that's great, you.
It's kinda good, cause I can go back and go, 10 years ago, we said.
Well, this does that, well, not 10 years because I just started, but this will too because I just keep adding to the
Yep.
same
Yep.
notebook. They call them notebooks. So I have a
Great.
personnel notebook and a select board notebook and a FinCom notebook. So then I can go back to every
Beautiful.
meeting that's
Yep.
ever happened, you know, and actually have that all in one place. Whereas before I would have had to have like 25 notebooks,
Right.
one for each
Right.
thing. So what I
Or-
had was a day-to-day
or
notebook where
fold-
everything
Or
went in.
folders.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's your folder.
And this goes home with me at night, so if I need to reference something, I don't have to bring my laptop either.
Right.
So it's
Good.
it's helpful, but anyhow. We do have a new police officer hire, Brendan Judge, replacing Officer Kevin Trongone, who retired. I'm sorry, who
Nope.
resigned. I didn't mean retired.
Transferred.
Transferred over to a different town. And we have a contractual step increase for police officer Alex Lima.
This is Claire's pile.
I have another of the recreation program counselors from October, Alexis Wheeler. Oh, did I not? Well, I guess she is the, do we not have anyone, it's the department head themselves? I guess I could sign twice, but there's no real point in doing that. This is Melissa Sargent's paperwork. So I was just looking, because the department head was blank because she is the department head, so.
Yep.
I was wanting to make sure that I didn't give you
That's
something
great.
not filled out. And this is the Kevin Trongone resignation.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
And then, as the chief had mentioned, we have the two new full-time firefighters that started. Howie Priest and Liam Cushman. They were both call firefighters, and they are now full-time. And we've actually been seeing those empty shifts go down significantly, which has
Right.
been great. And one of the things that's actually helped is there's more call folks picking up shifts now that there's a full-time person on every shift, because they feel more comfortable
Good.
being with somebody who's there all the
That's
time.
right. That's
Because if you're working for a bunch of
absolutely.
different departments
Yeah.
with different rules,
June and I,
yeah,
we know
you
that.
understand, right? Because
We
you don't want
do.
to take on that responsibility
Right.
if you're only there
Just
once or
wanted to
twice
see
a
the
month.
names
So,
on there.
um,
Great.
all right. And one more of the recreation program counselors from October.
Liam Cushman and
Sorry, I didn't give you the
Howard
name,
Priest.
Alexis
Howard
Baker.
Priest. That's great.
Okay, see, like, this is the same date, and this has the new department head.
What are the signature dates, though? They started,
Okay.
it's one, yeah. Because some of them were started but not
Okay.
completed, because we didn't get all the paperwork in a timely fashion.
Yeah, it took a little bit.
Yeah. And then,
And we are watching relatives, right?
Okay.
yes, I've made it exceptionally clear that relatives cannot supervise their own
Yeah. Okay, good.
relatives. I have another one for Police Officer Brendan Judge. I'm guessing this was his initial, nope, not his date of
One
hire.
is one educational.
Is he done?
Nope, he's the new.
No, I mean, he's not done the academy yet. That's what I meant.
Don't remember without looking at my cheat sheet.
He's the one
I
who's
don't-
still in the academy.
He's in the academy still.
Okay.
But I don't know why I have a second one. Can I see the first one? I just wanna make sure I give you accurate information. This one's from February. Thank you very much. And this one's from December. So this is new hire. This is new hire too.
Look and see if there's like an educational or a step or something.
That's
Hourly
great.
rates are the same. Benefits eligible, budgeted.
But he should know his step before he gets onto the academy.
Right, and that's, I mean, the hourly rates are the same because he's still in the academy, and I'm not,
Is there anything at the very
That's great.
bottom?
no. See if your eyes are better than mine.
This one was first, right?
Nice.
Sorry, it was something
Yeah.
from being older. What did I miss?
A date of birth. What do you think? We had to
Huh?
have corrected information.
Oh.
I believe, whichever one is the last one. This one is the corrected one. This one has the wrong.
So we're gonna get rid of that one then.
I
and-
think so.
Yeah. So we apparently had a wrong birth date. Thank you, June. This is the correct one. Cause I didn't see anything else that was
That's the
different
Brendan
on there.
judgment.
Yep. We also have a resignation of, Russell Baker. That was, one of the last van drivers.
And what was the position?
Van driver,
Okay.
COA.
And resignation of Chris Keefe from the select board. That is a stipended position, so that's why it gets a PAF.
You didn't sign this.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, you did up above.
Yeah, that's one of the weird ones where I'm sort of the department head and I'm like, do I
Yeah,
sign it twice?
yeah.
I mean, I can, but.
No, for select board, I'm like,
Mhm.
or would that be the I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter,
Mm.
there's a signature on there.
That's
Yeah.
right. And then we have a new transfer station, part-time attendant Norman Rainville.
Almost.
We'll be done in just a minute, Jane. You can
okay.
sit down here.
Alright, okay.
And this was the resignation of the Board of Health clerk, Donna Trail.
I make a motion that we accept all these PAFs,
Yeah.
cause
And
now
it-
we gotta start
and-
signing.
It was Norman Rainville.
Yes.
Norman Rainville. Yep.
I'm like, which one's,
Right.
Jake, which one's Norman?
There's a lot of.
He's like,
Say, I've
he's-
heard that name a lot.
No,
So,
he's dead.
And I
yeah.
see, I don't know him
It's-
as Norman.
No, it's Rick.
Yeah.
They call him Rick?
Yeah.
I didn't know his name was Norman.
Okay. Well, I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. All PAFs approved. Okay. And the next item on our agenda is the, any positions or advertising or anything else. We already talked about the other position that you, we're gonna, the 10-hour position.
Yep.
And then just any information that you'd like to share with us.
Sure. So town meeting is Monday, May 5th, 7:30 PM. I'd love to get that info out there at every meeting. We encourage all registered voters in Berlin to attend. It's at the gym at BMS. The warrants have gone out. Everyone should have received them in the mail by now. If for some reason you did not, there are extras available at the post office. There are extras available here. Stop in, stop by. If you have questions, we're happy to answer them. Call, email, stop in.
Yep.
It is a 24-article warrant, which is shorter than some of the town meetings we've had in the past because we did have a fall town meeting. So that is helpful. And we have put all of the financial articles at the front in case we have to go to a second
Yep.
evening. That second evening will likely focus on the bylaws.
Okay.
So that way, if folks have an interest in one or the other
Yep.
or both, they can decide how they want to split their time. One of the articles, I did request funding for a classification and compensation plan
Good.
update.
Good.
So I did get a quote for $9,900 to do
Yeah.
that update. It's been 6 years since it was an FY '20
Yeah.
plan. So I know, isn't that crazy how
Oh my
your time
God.
flies? Usually we recommend doing an update every 3 to 5. So that is on
That's
the
great.
warrant
Yeah.
for town meeting. And other than that, we unveiled basically at the department head meeting, we're trying to centralize HR functions, particularly related to hiring in our office. And that has been a bit of a challenge because it's been very decentralized
Yep.
before. In part because we have independent boards that hire their own employees. So we're trying to at least standardize as much of the process as we
Good.
can, because ultimately we have to keep all the paperwork. If somebody comes, they're coming to us, you know, and we don't want to someone
Yeah.
have a different type of offer
Yeah.
letter or a
Yeah.
different type of job ad,
Yeah.
you know. So basically the way the process is working is obviously starts here with an approved job description.
Yeah.
And then we turn that into an ad. Dee will post the ad, all of the resumes come to her. She creates a Google Drive for all the resumes
Beautiful.
and gives that link to the either department head or the board or
Yep.
committee chair.
Okay,
They go in, they say,
beautiful.
these are 3 people we wanna interview. Dee, will help them set up the interview panel. And will also help with questions so that we
Yep.
make sure we ask the right, not right, but appropriate questions
great.
at interviews. And then once the person is selected or recommended, you go through whether it goes to the select board or board of health or
Nice.
assessor, you go through that.
Yeah,
And then Dee will prepare the offer letter. So that way, we're standardizing it in so much as
Beautiful.
we can
Yep.
within the fact that we have different ways that things work.
right.
So that's a big thing we've been working on.
That's excellent. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah,
I
and many
really
thanks
am.
to Dee for taking
Yeah.
that on. It actually came out, it started, believe it or not, once we had the recreation folks, because especially with minors, there are so many I's you need to dot and T's you need to cross, and making sure we have the work
Yeah.
permits. And so we standardized the process and wrote it up for rec,
Yeah,
and then we need to turn this into a standard process for
Yeah.
everybody. So
great.
that's what we unveiled it at the department head meeting this
Excellent.
month, and working on finalizing it, taking
That's-
suggestions and comments, and
Great.
so I'm just hoping it will make things not only easier
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
the department heads and the boards and committees, but also standardization.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's what I have for
That's
you.
wonderful. I just had a couple questions. I thank you so much for the Powder House News. I've been printing it out
Oh,
for
good.
my mother-in-law. She's 93.
Would
you
she
know,
like a
she
mailed
can't-
copy? We can do that.
So, I don't know.
We can mail it. All you have to
Really?
do, yeah, if you just email or give me the address,
Okay.
and we'll mail it.
All right.
Absolutely. That's an
There
option.
was something on here about that I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Yep.
Um,
If you just let us know, we can mail it out.
Okay, great. And the other thing I just wanted to ask about was I still don't see anything in here at all about any recreation stuff. So I brought this up 3 times. I brought it to the former recreation director, and there was nothing in here about the Easter egg hunt for the kids, I guess there was an Easter egg hunt for the kids in town, but my sister said that she took her grandson, because she saw it on Facebook, but not everybody's on Facebook, so I was just wondering why it wasn't in here. And same with the fishing derby, I don't know if that's just a Facebook thing, or if that's just a town
Yeah.
thing that doesn't have to do with the town employee, I
No,
don't
we
know.
can reach out specifically. We don't have a recreation director right now because they're trying to redo that position
Right.
and bring it back, and I've
Right.
been waiting for them to bring a
Right.
revised job
But
description.
still, the
so we can
committee
bring it
should
to
be
you.
doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something they should be.
Yeah.
We can reach out
Well,
and ask.
Felicia, I mean, I know that she was the one that was trying to do a lot of it,
Yeah.
you know?
No, and
And
there's
my
things-
sister told me that, and I
She
wouldn't,
is,
I wouldn't
yeah.
have even known about it if my sister hadn't have told me about
Yeah.
it. And I understand and we were talking today, the younger folks, and let's face it, the younger folks, they do Facebook, almost all of them. But for us old codgers that don't do the Facebook and don't see that stuff, my sister did, so she was
Yeah.
able to take her grandson and everything, but still, I thought,
That would be
geez.
nice to have in
Yeah.
there, absolutely.
But still, even because we know people that have tried to go down to pickleball.
Mm.
They wanna go play pickleball downtown. But there's they get down there and there's supposed to be people there, but there's nobody there, and maybe just a little,
Yeah, and even,
just to
like
say.
last year, I guess there were pickleball lessons and everything through the town, and didn't even know about them until after everything was all over, so.
Sometimes
just-
we find out at the last
That's why
minute
people
about
are going to
things, too.
Boylston, though.
Yeah,
That's
I
the sad
know.
thing, is people are going, I guess it's a really good
Going to
program.
other towns,
in
yeah.
Boylston there.
And Northborough's got one too, that
That'll be the day.
I,
Playing pickleball.
I know, well, I'm not saying I'm going to either, but I was looking at the Northborough senior thing, and boy, there was quite a bit in there, in the Northborough one for recreation and everything, and I thought to myself, this is a wonderful example for our recreation committee to see all the different things that they had, so
I will pass that feedback
that
along.
would be wonderful. But otherwise, everything looked beautiful. Was really happy to see the thing about, oh my God, Chester the cat. Oh my God. And I was happy to see the things about Council on Aging on here, right on the front page. So thank you for all that. I know it's a lot, so.
Yeah, many thanks to Lori Fairbay and Dee, who have worked on the Powder House News. That is a big load, being a monthly or, you know, heavy, I don't know
Right.
what the right word is. It's a lot.
Yeah,
So thankful, and to all the department heads and boards and committees that have been contributing, and we will take an article at any time, you know,
Yep,
send
good.
them over, send them to Dee, send them to
okay.
our office, and we'd love to have it.
I think after budget season and after town meeting is over, I think we really need to look at Dee's job description.
I actually
I
have.
think she's getting a little, you know.
Yep.
And I'm not putting Dee down in any way, but I think she's getting stretched maybe in directions that you need to kind of keep an eye on.
I believe we do need to revise her job description. I believe those tasks are necessary to have her do, unless you want to hire an HR person.
Yeah, no, unless, I mean,
No, I know,
should she have?
and I'm sure she's helpful to everybody.
Right, should she
and
have a
does-
senior work off or more?
Yeah, the problem is, and we do try to take advantage of senior work off as much as we can. A lot of the stuff we do is so high level, it's really a challenge because it takes so long to
Yeah.
explain. But
Yeah.
we have been talking about how we can do that. You know, it is really a challenge, and I do worry about stretching people too thin.
Yeah.
And you know, she functions at a much higher capability than her job description.
Yep.
So I would love to talk about that. I actually asked her to go through her job description and make
Great.
some suggestions,
Don't forget,
and then I'd like to
she
bring
wins
it.
the lottery tomorrow.
I know.
We're by that job description, and somebody comes in.
Look at Kristen, she's scared to death when you said that.
I never say
No,
anybody gets.
There's always a lot of TA jobs
deer in
posted.
the
If she
headlights.
loses her, if she wins the lottery, she's
Deer-
gonna take me with her.
Yeah, a deer in the headlights, wow.
I don't
No,
ever say
she's-
they get hit
she's
by a train,
fantastic.
but they can get.
Well, thanks.
I'd rather
I
win
did-
the lottery.
I did her job for 6 years, 8
Yep.
years. It's a
Nope, I know.
challenging, thankless job. So I
I
completely
think there's a couple
understand.
people that are doing, there's one other one that's doing a lot more than her job description. But her supervisor's sitting here at the table, cause she's doing a lot.
Just trying to get things done,
Yeah.
right?
You do what you gotta do.
You
Yeah.
do, and I'm
And we-
not,
yeah,
I
and
mean,
I
think
have
the
to
town
say,
appreciates it, but
Yeah.
I think she's
Yeah.
doing some things that she shouldn't have to be doing.
Somebody
has to do it.
Well,
Okay.
thank you very much.
absolutely.
Thank
Make a motion
you.
that we
Thanks.
adjourn.
Okay, and I'll second that motion. All in
Aye.
favor? Aye, okay,
Now you can have your other meeting.
yeah.